evening. I'd like to call the East Cocalico Township Board of Supervisors meeting to order for Thursday, February 16th. Please stand for the national, for the pledge. Sorry. I think it's Super Bowl. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The rest of us, you got this. You can play that recording this day. Yeah, if you really want, I can play it for you. That was good. We had one executive session February 2nd after our meeting. It was from 11 p.m. to 11:02 p.m. Past meeting minutes for approval. Good?
Yeah. I'm not gonna change this, so I'll make a motion we approve the minutes as New York.
I'll second that. Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 2-0. At this point, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our solicitor, Matt Crean, for the public hearing.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight has been advertised and public notice given for a legislative hearing on a request to amend the township zoning ordinance. The proofs of publication and posting and other, no posting. Other related items are part of the township's file and the record of this matter. Mr. Dwight Yoder is here representing the petitioner, and will allow him to introduce the matter and describe what the request is, so that the board and members of the public get the details. In a legislative hearing, the board receives what we refer to as testimony, but it's really in the nature of public comment. When an appropriate time comes, we'll ask if there's public comment, and we would suggest to you that your comment should be of the nature of describing for the board or recommending to the board, suggesting to the board how the board should act on this request and either grant or deny the amendment request. But we'll begin with the petitioner and his counsel, Mr. Yoder.
Thank you, Mr. Crean. Good evening, members of the board. Dwight Yoder again. It's good to be back. Welcome aboard to the new township manager. As you know, I'm here on behalf of Hoover Truck Repair. Jeff and Diane Hoover are here with their son Zach, and another son? No, okay, he's just a friend. And you know Tony, he's here as well as the builder's representative. And I do have, I was before you previously, so you're familiar with this project and the proposed text amendment. I did bring another handout just to kind of quickly walk through the request because I know you have a lot of stuff and it's been a while. So this is a request to change the text in the zoning ordinance as it relates to the C1 zoning district. And if you look at the first exhibit here, this is your zoning map, and the big red arrow here that points to the little black X, that's the property that my client owns where they want to put their truck repair business. So it's in the C1 commercial district. And if you look at the second page, this is just an aerial shot of that. If you recall, it's a little bit of a challenging site because it has some floodplain in the back. You can't really see it here, but there's power lines and a power line easement that cuts through it. And of course, it's on Route 272, which is an arterial road, a state road. So it's not the easiest property to develop. If you look at the third tab, and I'm going to have Jeff describe a little bit about his business, but this is just to orient you. So Hoover Truck Repair is a local business. It's been around how long, Jeff?
25 years.
25 years. They do truck repair. They also do some auto repair. They do not do any sales. It's all service work, and they're located right now on Stevens Road in Ephrata, 539 Stevens Road. And essentially, if you look at the bottom there, that's just a Google Earth view of the property. Can you describe, Jeff, a little bit about the property now and the fact that you're out of space and have nowhere to go? Come up front. We have to swear you in or anything.
Well, I think we're familiar with it, but we've rented the property, we've been renting there for 25 years. We rent for Hearst Excavating, which is an excavating company. They've been growing and they need more room, so they asked us if we would find another facility. And finding a facility that is large enough to do what we want to do is not very easy. This lot came available, would fit our needs, what we need to do. You know, we're strictly a repair shop. The shop that we're in now is too small, and it's not really set up to be a truck repair shop anyway, because trucks and trailers, I mean, we do a fair amount of trailer work, automotive work also, and of course, trucks. We do a lot of local, Gaiman's Feed Mill, Stevens Feed Mill, a lot of local area businesses, not looking to do outside work, just mostly in the township or around the local area, do a lot of local business.
And how many employees do you?
Well, with a couple part-time and work-run stuff, probably like 10.
So if you look at tab 4, this is just a sketch plan of how they would propose to develop the property. Of course, if the board agrees to the text amendment, we would still need to go to the zoning hearing board for special exception approval, and then we have to come back through the whole land development. So you're familiar with that process. This is just to give you a sense of how the site might be developed. And like we said before, they're not looking to do any sales. It's not a storage yard, they're doing service, and it's been designed here, I think in a way that would fit well on that lot. Tony, did you have anything you wanted to say about the site plan?
Not at this point, no.
Yeah, okay. If you look at exhibit 5, one of the things, if you recall, that we talked about when I came previously, just to kind of explore if this was an option, was the fact that along Route 272, there's a number of other similar types of businesses, truck repair businesses, that have been approved. Some of them went to the zoning board for variances, some of them have been there. And I think really it was just to show that the commercial zone has accommodated these types of businesses. And if you recall, in the ordinance in the C1 district, there's currently a use called automobile, boat, farm machinery, recreational vehicle, and trailer sales, service, and repair facilities that are permitted in the C1 district. When Jeff was looking at this property, we met with township staff and we said, you know, trailer service, we think we might fit under that. And they said, well, you know, there's this use in the industrial zone called heavy equipment sales, service, and repair, such as excavating machinery, commercial trucks, tractor trailers, buses, mobile homes. Seems like you might fit in that. That's not permitted in the C1 district. The reality of it is large farm equipment and the type of repairs you're doing on trucks and trailers are nearly identical. It's this same equipment. I think I may have shown you some pictures of some of the farm equipment that is typical in Lancaster County, but for all practical purposes, there's really no real difference. And I don't know quite why the one was stuck in the industrial district and the other was in the commercial district. There was some discussion about, you know, if you do a text amendment, elected officials are often concerned about unintended consequences. So it's like, we like your project, but we're just not quite sure what's going to happen. So part of what we did is we tried, in consultation with staff, to think through how we could possibly limit where in the C1 district that you could have truck repair businesses that like is being proposed. And the text amendment, if you look at tab 6, includes just a few provisions that we think helps limit it. So if you turn, well, let me just kind of walk through this so you understand what's being proposed. In the C1 district, we're proposing to add an additional use permitted by special exception. That would be for heavy equipment, service, and repair facilities. And that would cover what Jeff does with his business. And then there's some language in the other sections that govern the criteria for that, and that's under 220-94, that's section 2. And you can see the underlined section there. That is permitted by special exception, which means we need to go to the zoning hearing board to get another approval. And then if you flip to the next page, section 3, it's adding two additional provisions. So it says heavy equipment service and repair facilities, but not sales, so no sales are here, are permitted by special exception in the C1 district on properties that have a minimum lot area of 5 acres and have frontage and access to an arterial or major collector road. That provides some limitations on where in the township other facilities could go. And frankly, if you look at your zoning map, there's likely not many properties that are vacant and meet those criteria that would allow for this type of facility. That's a way just to limit maybe unintended consequences. 10 or 15 years from now, somebody says, well, how can they do that here? We think that puts it in the locations it should be in. And then the other thing that I mentioned before is that there are a long list of requirements for both the farm machinery and the automobile truck repairs. The way this is written, all of those apply to this. So when we go for special exception approval, we have to meet the criteria, what we call the objective criteria for both those sets of standards. Many of them overlap, but there's some that are different. So we tried to structure it so that there's adequate safeguards and criteria, that we have to show that we meet all of these criteria, and that it's located only in those locations within the township that make the most sense. It's already, zone C1, it's already along an arterial road, and having, talk just generally with township staff and the township traffic engineer, it's a location where if you have any type of what we call trip generator use, probably not going to go in there, because you need something with low trips, with low traffic in and out, and that's exactly this type of use. Anything else, Jeff? You have your wife Diane here. It's a family endeavor. I think, I said this before, but I think when local municipalities are able to accommodate local businesses, bring them into the township, I think it's good for everyone. They're going to provide a service to local businesses, and I think it's a good location, and I think it's consistent with the zoning ordinance and good plan. So we just ask that you would vote to approve this text amendment and allow them to move forward with their project. Happy to take any questions, or if there's anything else you'd like me to review, I'm happy to do that.
Just have one comment. So I see that here. The one question I had originally was related to the sales.
Yes.
Truck sales, equipment sales, only because the way that lot is, the way it's designed, even with the frontage, it was going to be like there's no room there to do that. And you did address that in there, so thank you for doing that.
Yes, you're welcome.
This is more of a curiosity question. You said it's low traffic. What are you guys expecting or is it too early to say?
It's a little early to say, but what do you, just
I think we have, I'd say maybe 10 trucks a day, just with customers come in, and then there's different guys that come in and want you to look at something, and then they leave again, but on the general, on our schedule, we're probably about 10 to 12 jobs a day, but then there's also employee stores and then delivery vans from parts places, different parts vans will be coming in, maybe sometimes 3 to 5 a day, who knows, nothing real heavy traffic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the board, open it up to public comment. Please. Members of the public, anybody wish to make comment on this request before the board? Tom? So, members of the board, we would close this hearing, and then you might consider whether you wish to act on it tonight, but you would have the option of deferring it to another public meeting that would be one of your regular scheduled meetings.
I think we can act on it tonight, because the questions that I had were addressed.
And again, it's not the first time you've heard.
And it's not the first time, correct. So,
The hearing closed.
I want to close the hearing,
Yeah, a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2-0.
So, do you want to make a motion now?
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-01, amending the Code of Ordinances for East Cocalico Township, Chapter 220, zoning Article 2, zone regulations 220-21, general commercial zone C1, by amending 220-21.C to allow for heavy equipment service and repair facilities within the general commercial district, and Article 4 specific use criteria 220-94 to provide criteria for heavy equipment service and repair facilities within the C1 district.
Okay, and I will second that.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening.
All right. Moving on to land planning engineer.
Yes, before the board this evening is a,
I forgot to announce this meeting was duly advertised in the Lancashire newspaper, February 1st and February 8th. Thank you. Sorry.
before the board this evening is a request to extend the 90-day period for plan review submitted by Dutch Cousin Campground. The township engineer notes that the extension by 90 days would set the clock at May 29th, 2023.
27th.
2027. It's
I'll make that motion.
And I will second that.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0.
Second is a recommended reduction in financial security for a stormwater management project at 35 Keeler. The motion would be to authorize a $13,774.46 reduction in the financial security being held by the township at 35 Keeler Avenue for the stormwater management plan, which results in a remaining balance reduced to $4,700.
I'll make that motion.
Quick question, Tommy, we didn't expect anyone from the plant here tonight.
Okay.
Okay, and I will second that.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. Right to know officer appointment.
Next item on the agenda would be the appointment of a right-to-know officer, myself.
Okay, and I will make the motion to appoint Tommy Ryan as our right-to-know officer.
I will second that. Motion and second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0.
Next item, the appointment of me as the assistant zoning officer for the township.
And I will make a motion to appoint our township manager, Tommy Ryan, as the assistant zoning officer.
I'll second that. Motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries 2-0.
Next on the agenda is authorization to execute a license agreement with Purple Heart LLC pursuant to the Municipal Waste Plan Recycling and Waste Reduction Act and Township Ordinance 2018-05, This is the last of the 6 agreements that we approve each year.
I will make the motion to authorize execution of license agreement with Purple Heart LLC pursuant to the Municipal Waste Plan Recycling and Waste Reduction Act 101 and Township Ordinance 2018-05.
I will second that.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. Department reports. Yes, sir.
Thank you. The January police report is as follows. Our officers responded to 516 calls for service. That's total calls for service in East Cocalico Township. In East Cocalico Township, we responded to 9 reportable crashes, 16 non-reportable crashes, 7 reportable crashes. Lucky to say we had no fatalities. Our officers issued 40 traffic citations, issued 81 traffic warnings. We had 3 DUI on-view arrests, 1 DUI crash. That was in East Cocalico Township. Total calls for service in Denver Borough was 141 for the month of January. We responded to 7 non-reportable crashes, 0 reportable crashes, and again, we're fortunate 0 fatalities. We issued 3 traffic citations in Denver Borough and 29 traffic warnings. There were 0 on-view DUI arrests, 1 DUI crash. We also issued 1 parking ticket in the borough. And also, during the week of February 6th, Officer Rachel Odenwald attended basic Lincoln print identification training. This is a week-long training. It's the first of many specific to crime scene investigation. So she's starting that. I believe there's maybe 7 or 8 courses all involved with crime scene investigation. This is the first one. So she completed that as a week-long course. That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Financial administrator, nothing to report, right? Roadmaster, nothing to report. Building SCO, no. MS4, Ken.
Yes, the Stony Run restoration project adjacent to the building, putting up a conservation area. There were 2 items. When the proposed contract was reviewed, it was suggested by the solicitor that it would be more efficient if only 1 supervisor was required to sign the agreement rather than having to catch up with all 3 to have them sign it. And so what they propose is to, I guess would be a motion to allow 1 supervisor to sign that agreement for all 3.
And our recommendation is based on typically for contracts, the chair, if available, or the vice chair, if not, is directed and authorized to sign on behalf of the township. There are certain things that you like to get all 3 signatures on, but if you act with that authority, it's fine.
So I'll make that motion that we have the chair or the vice chair go ahead and execute that document. Okay.
I'll second that. Motion second.
And just to be clear, this is to sign a document that has been authorized by the board as a whole. This doesn't change the authorization.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. Anything else, Ken?
Yes, and then 1 second discussion point on that same project. The draft contract that's been in review floating back and forth between the company doing this and the township. There is an option in there for us to take a $20,000 payment and be responsible for doing all the work and installing the proposed walking path around the margins of it. The walking path basically was gonna run outside of the conservation area, but along the edge of it, and was to include a couple of pads with picnic tables on them, so that for wildlife observation, or this could be adjacent to the township building, the public or township staff having lunch to table down by the conservation area. The two options would be to take the cash payment, and then the township would be responsible for doing that entirely on our own. The other option was to have that project be included as part of the overall conservation area project that they would handle it for us. And that's just a decision one way or the other. I did reach out to Jason Kirschner, the engineer, on what he thought it would cost to do this, just as a rough estimate, not really doing engineering on it. But his estimate that he thought the paving for a walkway that would be 5 feet wide, meeting ADA Americans with Disability Act standards, with a total length of about 1,100 feet, would end up being about $15,000. Then there'd be other costs that go along with it. It had been discussed whether the road crew would be able to do that. I did talk it over with Brett. He said because of the equipment needed and the number of personnel required to operate the paver and the other equipment moving the paving material around, is that he's just not set up to do that. It's practical for him. So,
Did you say that $20,000 cost is to the township?
what the
Is that what you said?
What they were proposing is instead of them doing the walking path, they would simply pay the township $20,000.
I mean, I think it's a lot cleaner and easier, just let them take care of it all and call it a day. Why get involved, and we're gonna have to get rollers, pavers, and.
Right, I tend to agree with that, but it should go before the board for approval.
And if the road crew can't do it, arguably it's under the bidding limits, but it's close enough that it might exceed, and then we're into prevailing wage, and it isn't $15,000.
Are they also in that 20, if they end up doing that whole project, the paving, the pads for the picnic tables, that's all in, right?
The final design and details haven't been prepared yet. We would then negotiate with them on that, exactly what's gonna happen. It'd be basically the idea that there's gonna be a walking path and some picnic tables. And there would be 2 access points. One would start near the parking lot here at the township building. Go across the field, there'd be a pathway through the woods, and goes around the edge of the next field over, which is currently an agricultural field. This belongs to the township. The other one would be a shorter segment that would come off of, I believe it's Cranberry Circle, so that there's access from the Heatherwoods development to another picnic table, which would be down behind some of the houses there along the road.
We don't have definitive details surrounding the scope of the project.
Correct.
I would never agree to taking a lump sum in regards to then working a project that we have no final scope on.
Right. That seems to make sense to me. That's a better approach.
And just so, on the final say of this, how long it's gonna be or whatnot, we will obviously have a say. It's gonna come to us at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need a motion for that. We're not talking about that yet, so.
It's purely discussion.
Anything else, Ken?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Treasurer's report.
For the board's review this evening is the treasurer's report for the month ending February 28th. Also, for consideration tonight, there are motions to approve two bill runs and two electronic transfers for payroll and one electronic transfer to a vendor. So the first motion would be motion to approve check payments for the general fund bank account, list of bills in the amount of $53,962.40, starting date of February 1st, 2023, ending date of February 6th, 2023.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Don Miller. Check number 63522 from Marshall Property Management for snow removal. Is that for a parking lot or for a road? Snow removal, do you know?
He's a contractor. That little snowstorm we had, we contract him out to help out plowing.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Doug Baxley, check number 63536, Managed Property Solutions. You just got invoices for last year.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to pay them, do you? How's that guy keep his books straight?
That's what I said too.
Okay.
That was our question, and we had Tommy reach out, and it was missed. Apparently, they blamed it on the mail.
That's a nice excuse. Yeah, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the check payments for the general fund bank account, list of bills in the amount of $53,962.40, starting date February 1st, 2023, ending date of February 6th, 2023.
I will second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries 2-0.
Second motion would be a motion to approve check payments for the general fund bank account, list of bills in the amount of $49,876.63, starting date February 7th, 2023, ending date February 14th, 2023.
Any questions with that list? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the check payments for the general fund bank account, list of bills in the amount of $49,876.63, starting date February 7th, 2023, ending date February 14th, 2023.
I will second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0.
Next, a motion to approve electronic payment list of bills in the amount of $123,946.73. That is for payroll dated February 1st, 2023, payroll dated February 1st, 2023 for the pay period between January 15, 2023 and January 28, 2023.
Any questions there? I'd like to make a motion to approve the electronic payments, list of bills in the amount of $123,946.73. Payroll dated February 1st, 2023, for a pay period January 15th, 2023 to January 28th, 2023.
I will second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries 2-0.
Next, a motion to approve electronic payment list of bills in the amount of $59,874.00 under workers' compensation and insurance premium, and that is dated February 13, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
I will second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0.
Next, a motion to approve electronic payment of list of bills in the amount of $83,652.72. That is for the payroll dated February 15, 2023, to the pay period beginning January 29, 2023, and ending February 11, 2023.
I will make that motion.
I will second that.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries 2-0.
And lastly, a motion to approve check payments for the Life Fund bank account. List of bills in the amount of $14,086.40. Starting date of February 10, 2023, ending date of February 18, 2023.
I will make that motion.
And I will second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 2-0. Management items, Tommy?
None. I'm sorry. Informational items. Generator update for the township building, no update since our last meeting. And as noted at the last meeting, the Ward Trail Extension feasibility study, that group is getting together for its kickoff meeting a week from today.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Thank you. New business? Anything? Old business? No? Public comment? Please state your name for the meeting minutes. Yes, sir.
Doug Macklin. I'm gonna go back to the period of September the 1st to December 31st of last year. I had requested a right to know. I had been seeing the invoices for the solicitor in the minutes, so I got a copy of that. And it appears that during that 30-day or that 90-day time period, we spent almost $17,000 on lawyers. Did some digging into that, and I see there's 3 litigations going on. We spent $5,400 round numbers on a Hartman litigation, about $260 on a Hoffman litigation, and $1,270 on a Cottle litigation. Are there any comments on that? Are they still ongoing?
There's actually 4 pieces of litigation that are ongoing. There's one that the insurance company has picked up, and we are billing them directly.
Right.
That's the litigation that was started by Ms. O'Connell and Mr. Buckles related to not being reappointed to certain positions by the township. I'm sorry. Short answer, yes, all 4 of those are ongoing. The Hartman litigation is a claim of de facto taking by eminent domain related to the exclusion zone of the wellhead protection provisions of the zoning ordinance. The Hoffman litigation is related to a declaratory judgment action that the Hoffman property owners have brought against all adjoining property owners for a declaration of access rights, and the township and Spring Township have also been joined, Spring Township, Berks County, been joined in that. Okay, Don, there's one more, right?
Pardon?
Hartman,
Hartman, O'Connell, and
Buckles, Hoffman,
Hartman, the 3 that I was talking about, Hartman, Hoffman, and O'Connell. That's what I picked up on the invoice.
okay, right,
Okay.
maybe it is on the yeah, I thought there was one.
There's 3 now.
There's 3, just 3. Yeah, I'm sorry. I must have, yeah, I lost count there. I thought there were 3 plus the one that the insurance company is paying. Yeah, reimbursing.
Okay.
So they're all still pending. The court has directed in the Hoffman litigation that if they don't file an amended complaint by the end of this month, they're going to dismiss it. The Buckles and O'Connell litigation has been dismissed twice, but the court has allowed them to replead their cause of action. We have a petition in asking the court to stop doing that and just dismiss it. And the Hartman litigation is a little tougher nut, but the court had a status conference 2 weeks ago, and we have a motion to dismiss on that the court has asked them to file a response for their action. and I can tell you more about it, but
That's good.
it's
I didn't need all the.
it's inside baseball on land use.
Okay. And I have one other one.
Yes, sir.
Back on the meeting of April 7th of last year, RC made a motion for an independent investigation into ethics by the zoning board. And that was denied 1-0. You made a motion and it was never seconded. Right after that, Lee Lorenzo made a motion to table the prior motion, requesting an independent investigation due to solicitor. I'm sorry, let me read this. Made a motion to table the prior motion requesting an independent investigation and to consult with the township solicitor due to potential ethic act issue. Motion passed 2-1. Ralph Buckles happened to be, I think he was online, he wasn't in the audience, and I don't remember, but he had his comment that this is the second year this has been going on, and it's getting kicked down the road. I'm going back to May of last year. April of that same, May of that year, Steve Brubaker asked the same question, and the solicitor, and I think it was a lady, responded that it's just sitting there. That was the answer.
So I can give you a better answer, because things did progress from there. So the ethical concern that I raised is related to the litigation, because the O'Connell-Buckles litigation was against Lorenzo and Jeff.
Okay.
And then there's a request from Mr. Buckles in an unrelated matter, perhaps, for this investigation. And I was concerned that because there were parties in litigation, that we could handle it differently, and not get into the question of whether they are unable to vote on the investigation. And then coincidentally, I went to the PSAT seminar and there was a presentation on investigations. So we pursued it based on the procedures that I learned at PSATs. Mike Hession and I, as the first step, offered to meet with Mr. Buckles to understand the scope of what he wanted to do in this investigation, what he wanted to accomplish. That was the first step that PSATs instructed us. The second step would then be contacting the district attorney to ask the district attorney if there was any impediment to us doing an investigation. Impliedly, if the DA is doing an investigation, we shouldn't be doing the investigation. So we never got to the second step because Mr. Buckles advised me and Mike that he didn't think we were capable of understanding what he wanted to have done. And at that point, we closed the file.
So is it, you say you closed, is it still going? Because I know, well, the reason I ask is on the 6th of last year, Steve Brubaker again asked the same question, and the solicitor stated the council is checking the state ethics board, and if we can vote, you just mentioned that, and how we might vote.
And when would that have been?
That was, June the 2nd of last year.
So I think that that would have been before Mike and I made the offer to Mr. Buckles to meet.
Okay.
Because, I'm pretty sure that that's correct. Mike was with us until June. Until June, that was, we wanted to wrap it up if we could before we lost Mike, yeah.
So it's,
If Mr. Buckles won't take the first step with us, we're not going forward.
okay, all right, so,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just a question. Sunai,
Thank you.
I was just curious because I saw they had a zoning hearing meeting last week. I saw it on the website. My question is, if there is actually a hearing that night, do we identify it on your website? Because it just said zoning hearing, but it didn't have any agenda or anything. So I was just a little not sure of that.
Yeah. The agenda is posted. And the agenda is posted on the website.
It wasn't that afternoon when I went.
I can't speak to that, but then they also have their own public notice requirements. So they have to advertise it and they have to post the property.
I know, but if they advertise it, I have to find it in the newspaper,
You should, yeah.
but I don't get any newspapers.
Yeah.
I don't get any newspapers.
No, we did.
I just checked, it is not on
We're
there.
looking at it.
So
It is not.
It's not.
So you heard me say before, public notice is hardly any notice at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, going back to those gentlemen that were here from, the development back here, I really get it. If you have no idea what's going on around here, you have no idea if a neighboring property has a zoning issue coming up. You're not driving down 272 and catching an 8x10 notice on a pole somewhere. It doesn't happen. But my point is, if I check your website, look at your zoning hearing meetings, why can't I see if a hearing is coming up there for a specific
Well,
property?
you should have been able to.
I did. There was nothing
And
there.
we'll apologize for that, we'll do a better job. Yeah.
I was just
So,
gonna say
does
this.
anybody know, was there anything up for zoning at the last meeting? Does anybody know? I'm just curious. Because I would have gone, but I didn't see
You were here.
anything.
Yeah. Mr. Ryan was here. I don't know if you'd like to comment on that.
Yeah, there was a zoning hearing board application, heard that in.
There was one,
Yeah, if the zoning hearing board meets, then there will be a zoning hearing board application heard. If there's no application pending, they won't meet.
then it should say cancel on your website.
No, if there is no meeting,
Yes.
yes, if they have a regular meeting, the meeting will be canceled. If they meet, the purpose of the meeting is to hear one or more applications.
Right, but you don't put that on an agenda form on your website.
We
Is
should,
that correct?
we should. We
You
will.
should.
We will do, we will
Yeah.
move forward.
And typically we do, but apparently we missed that.
It got missed.
Yeah.
Looks like it, yeah.
So who was on last week? I'm just curious. Since I missed it,
I'm sorry?
who was on, who was up for a
On
zoning
the agenda?
change?
Yeah, I can send you the application.
Yeah.
I can send you the application.
I'm sorry, it's hard to hear because this fan's high. So
And I'm hard of hearing anyway.
I'm saying it's going both ways. It's hard to hear. It's tough with this. I think it's on high today.
So just for everybody's knowledge, that obligation to post the agenda for all of our meetings is a new requirement prior to the most recent amendments to the Sunshine Law. That was something that we typically do, but it wasn't a requirement. And now that is a requirement, so that's a third form of public notice. And probably the most effective.
Yeah. The application pertains to a change to a non-conforming structure on North Reading Road. That applicant had been before the zoning hearing board previously for something similar. No decision was made by the zoning hearing board that evening. They'll make the decision most likely at their next meeting.
It gives the community a better chance.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember listening to these guys, and I knew where they were coming from. If you don't get a letter sent straight to your house, you have no idea what's going on, unless something's posted in your yard from either side of it. You don't know. And then down the road, you might have some comments or input. That would have been nice to know up front.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. The next Board of Supervisors meeting will be held at 7 p.m. on Thursday, March 2nd at the Stevens Fire Company, 91 Stevens Road, and we will still broadcast it live on Zoom. I get a motion to adjourn. I'll second that. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 2-0. Thank you. Have a good evening.